Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a Koriel Zeth video by popular demand. There isn't a ton of information available for this character as she's only really referenced in literature talking about the Schism of Mars, which was during the Horus Heresy. So I've taken some artistic liberty to kind of fill in the gaps, so I apologize if you are a big lore buff and maybe some of the things I say isn't 100% accurate, as I did really struggle to find references for this video, and I didn't want to go 100% off of memory because I wanted to, make sure that my video was as good as I could get it within a reasonable time frame. So as I've mentioned before, Koriel Zeth, also known as the Mistress of Magma, she was an adept in the Martian Mechanicum. The Mechanicum is what the Adeptus Mechanicus was called, or the people that live on Mars prior to being integrated fully into the Empire. So on Mars, there is a city called Magma City that is within an active volcano. This is a forge, so they would make things there, much like most of the places in that are controlled by Adeptus Mechanicus now are forge worlds, so they're entire worlds that do nothing but make things. Mars is the same way. It is a forge world and was back then, and she just happens to run one of the forges on this giant forge world. So what makes her interesting and kind of why I was drawn to her was the fact that she didn't believe in the machine god. So in the Mechanicum, they have a belief that there is this machine god, and the machine spirit is what makes things work, is what makes the spirits, and that each mechanical object has a machine spirit, and you would do certain rituals to appease the machine spirit, and that's how you get to work. Now, Koriel Zeth didn't believe in any of that. She believed in acquiring knowledge first, rational thinking, much like the imperial truth, which was sweeping through the empire. Hence why, during the Schism of Mars, her and her allies stayed true to the empire because they believed in the imperial truth, as that was the conclusion that they came to themselves even before meeting the emperor. And this would later be used against her and the people that believed in the machine gods, who also ended up siding with Chaos, including the Fabricator General, would use her not believing in the machine god to burn her in heretic, and her allies, and then would attack them. But before we get to the Schism on Mars, let's do some stuff that happened beforehand. So Koriel Zeth saved a girl, a scribe from the Administratum, called Dahlia Zethera. Yeah, these are fantasy names, so who knows if we're pronouncing them right or not. Dahlia would assist Zeth in creating a device called the Akashic Reader that would allow the user to appear into the Imperium, which would give you basically the sum knowledge of the world. If you could fully get into there, you would learn everything that's ever been known, ever. So it's an incredibly powerful machine. Now, the reader does require a ton of psychic energy. So what they did was they positioned the reader so that it would be hit by the Astronomicon, which is a large psychic navigation beacon on Terra that they would use to get back to Terra, and they can use that beam to kind of orient themselves in the universe. So they hooked up a psychic empath up to this machine, and basically the dude disintegrated. Like, there was so much psychic energy pulsing through this device that it just disintegrated the guy. There was nothing left of him. But the assistant, Dahlia, got some memories from the accident, because as soon as they started doing their little experiment, the Schism of Mars kicked off. And as if you know anything about the Schism of Mars, there was this virus called the Scrap Code that attacked all across Mars to kind of cripple all the defense systems, and it affected the reactors of the lab that they were running this experiment on. But during that accident, Ellie was given memories of the Mars Dragon, which is a powerful entity trapped within the Noctis Labyrinth, a vault deep within the bowels of Mars. And Dahlia would leave later to go to the labyrinth, and she would end up becoming the new dragon's guardian, while Zeth defended her city and kind of gave Dahlia the chance to leave, as she was being assaulted by the Dark Mechanicum trying to steal the reader, but also to destroy Zeth, as she was against the ideas of the machine god as well as the ideas of the chaos. The first time they tried to kill Zeth, they used an assassination group called the Sisters of Sidonium, which was a group that was going around just murdering whoever they could, because it's easier just to assassinate the head of a forge and then assimilate their populace than it is to have to do an all-out fight. But Zeth didn't have time for that. She survived the attempt, and they've resorted to a full-out siege of Magma City. So the Dark Mechanicum used the Legio Moris, which is their Imperator-class Titans. And for those of you who don't know what an Imperator-class Titan is, it's like a giant walking fortress. It's like a mech on drugs. Like, it's super big, powerful. It's the biggest and most powerful variant of a Titan fielded ever. Like like at any point in time in the Imperium. Like, they're giant war machines, and it wasn't just one they sent after Zeth. It was an entire legion of them. So an incredibly large amount of them because they were that desperate and trying to seize that reader. Because again, that reader would give them access to all the knowledge, and that's ever been known. It would be incredibly powerful, and it would allow the Dark Mechanicum to easily crush any of its enemies. But Zeth and her forces fought them off, and held strong. And when they finally realized that they could no longer fight and hold them off, they stopped shooting. They lured the Titans in, and then right when they were within range, they blew up the entire mountain. So hot rocks and magma came raining down on these Titans, washing them away in the magma and destroying the Legio Mortis, which is the Dark Mechanicum's biggest military threat, as these were their main giant war machines. So that not only did they stop them from getting the reader by blowing it up in the explosion, but they also completely crippled Dark Mechanicum's ability to wage war. And although it's not stated directly in the book, but let's just say all she did was destroy the reader. If all she did was destroy the reader, the Legion Mortis would have easily taken Mars. It would have easily used those forces with Horus's forces to attack Terra. It would have been a completely different story. And if they actually got their hands on the reader and somehow got it to work, they would know about the dragon under Mars and probably released it because this is the Dark Mechanicum attempting to try to use it for their own needs, and created probably Men of Iron basically again, because that was one thing the Dark Mechanicum really liked, was that they were able to kind of explore any sort of technology that they wanted to without the needs of restrictions following Horus. That was the big draw for them. So thankfully, Koriel Zeth did what she did, because without her actions, most likely the Dark Mechanicum and the forces of Horus would have easily wiped out everyone, and the Imperium as we know it would just be basically Chaos Marines, and there would be no Imperium factions. So I think she's super cool, and that's why in her honor I painted my forces white to show the purity of the fact that she was not corrupted by chaos. She held out against them to the last, and she wasn't tainted by the ideas of the Adeptus Mechanicus or Mechanicum at the time, but the idea of the machine spirit. She stayed true to her own morals, develop and innovate, while many other people just wanted to perform rituals that, just to keep things working, and didn't necessarily want to continue to innovate and adapt and, rise humanity up to a point where I hadn't seen before. But she was willing to do that and learn and grow and make new things, which was super cool with her. And then I do the black on the inside, while most of the armies have red on the inside, symbolizing Mars. Hers black to symbolize the ashes of Magma City. It would be volcanic rock, and volcanic rock is typically black. That's kind of like where my color scheme, and this is the character that inspired that. And I think she's super cool. If you want to learn more about the lore, I can kind of explain them. There isn't a ton of information about some of the more niche characters like Zeth, but there's a ton of resources out there for things like, the Mechanicum as a whole and their belief system. So if you guys want me to explore those and make some videos on them, let me know in the comments below. And obviously I took your suggestion the first time and I made this video, so I'd be more than happy to keep doing it if there's an interest for it. Yeah, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.